Blackstone Audio presents The New Deal, A Modern History, by Michael Hiltzik. To Deborah, Andrew, and David. I do not look upon these United States as a finished product. We are still in the making. Franklin Roosevelt, February 23, 1936. I am an old campaigner, and I love a good fight. Franklin Roosevelt, October 26, 1936. Prologue. The Long Winter. I pledge myself to a new deal for the American people. Samuel I. Rosamond always claimed that he gave those words little thought when, holed up in a dining room of the Executive Mansion in Albany, New York, and fortified by a rough meal of boiled frankfurters and a pot of coffee, he scribbled them on a scrap of paper. At that moment, he was convinced they never would be uttered aloud. It was the early morning of July 1st, 1932. In Chicago, the Democratic National Convention had completed its third ballot for the nomination for president. Rosamond's candidate, New York Governor Franklin D. Roosevelt, was still 88 votes short of the required two-thirds majority. Rosamond, who was Roosevelt's speechwriter, a charter member of his brain trust, and an old personal friend, had been drafting the governor's acceptance speech intermittently for months. The body of the speech had reached its final form several days earlier. All that remained to be drafted was the peroration, that uplifting oratorical coda penned to the end of every well-crafted speech. Rosamond had set aside the peroration for last, and during the frenetic first days of the convention left it undone. Seeking a respite from the long, numbing sequence of nominating and seconding speeches coming over the radio, Roosevelt had tried his own hand at a closing, but constant interruptions by phone from the convention floor ruined his concentration. He read his effort aloud to his gathered aides. We unanimously said it was terrible, so he sadly tore it up, Rosamond recalled. The next day Rosamond took up the task again as an antidote to his own restlessness. His spirits were weighed down by the thought that all his work would likely be in vain, for the nomination seemed to be drifting further away with every inconclusive ballot. Rosamond never specified the source of the term New Deal, but it was certainly in the air. His fellow brain truster Ray Moley had used it in a covering note to a package of informational memos he had given Rosamond to pass on to Roosevelt.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?